All right, up next, discuss and schedule a public hearing for July 20th regarding the revision to municipal code adopting Chapter 15 fees. Mr. Mulholland, did you want to start out? Or?
I just have to pull up here,
Okay,
breeze
yeah.
through those two items so quickly that I didn't even
Oh.
have a chance to get ready for that.
Sure.
Give me a minute. Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
start.
So we're bringing Chapter 15 back before you, and I'm going to try and pull this up at the same time as I'm talking, so bear with me. We're bringing Chapter 15 back before you because under New Hampshire RSA 41-9A, the town council, as the legislative body, is supposed to authorize all of the fees that are charged to the town. It's important to note that this doesn't include fines or violations. This is just the fees that are charged for the town's services above and beyond the ones that are provided free of charge. In this case, what the town manager's office has done is we have pulled together all of the fees from all of the different departments that are currently being charged, as well as itemized any additional fees that have been changed or added in for the first time in here. This policy goes through and includes the fees charged by each department. So sections 15.1 through 15.9 are the policies and the procedures, the justifications. How often we'll revisit this, which we're suggesting on an annual basis. Looking at the master fee schedule, which allows a regular and transparent routine, which our residents can expect to see these fees adjusted based on the costs of those services. So the rest of it, sections 15.10 to the end, go through each department and includes each department's fees as they are currently being charged or as we are suggesting to be revised based on the costs of providing those services for fiscal year 27. So as you can see, buildings, some of them are much more substantial. You know, buildings got 3 pages. Cable services has 1 line. So we've really tried to pull everything together in one single place it in code so everyone knows about it and everybody can see what everything is. This actual policy outlining all the fees, like I said, it's a 16-page policy. So what we've done, 16-page code. So what we've done is we've actually pulled out and indicated the section, the letter, and the number for each fee that is changing, let's be honest, increasing, or is a new fee. You can see we've indicated where they've changed moving forward for fiscal year 27. So what we're asking today is that the council move this to a public hearing on July 20th so that these can be effectively implemented for fiscal year 27. Of note here is some of these fees have been being charged, but they haven't been authorized by the council in the past. That's particularly the senior center fees, the cable services fees, the recreation fees, and the cemetery fees. So this brings everything under one umbrella, one code provision, and places it clearly in front of the council on an annual basis.
Mr. Chair, if I can ask one question. I know this is not under our public hearing and all that, but I see our fire department and police department are under this document as well, and I know we had passed not too long ago updated fee structure for the fire department. Will that negate
included.
that document?
So it's included in here.
I see it
yeah.
included, but will it negate the whole document that we approved earlier this year?
No.
There's some additional fees that were not originally approved in there that for alarms and those sorts of things.
Yeah. So
Okay,
if you
thank
look
you.
on here, for example, the fire prevention ones, these are the fees that based on the actual costs of going out and providing these services that Chief Young and Division Chief Johnson suggested. So you'll see that some of these increase to reflect the actual costs. And then there are some additional fees that were added, food truck inspection fee, electric photographs, and then detail-related charges. And this is actually, those were introduced to bring it more clearly in line and consistent with the police department. So now the police department and the fire department have a fee for the person, for the vehicle, and a cancellation fee. So, and it also adheres to the standards in the CBA that they need to provide for cancellation. So if somebody cancels, Now it's reflected, they have to tell the person 24 hours before in order to not pay them. So we've included that in here at the fire department's request.
Could we see where, because this is the new, could we see where they were in code? It doesn't have to be tonight, but for the next meeting, just so we see kind of what Ted was speaking about, the old fees and for that and some of the other fees, just to wherever they happen to be. I just
So-
want to see what we're replacing with what.
And or
So
where
this-
they might have been located.
Yeah.
So anything, if it's not on this 2 pages, it's not changing. So you've already approved it at some point in time. If you'd like a list of those codes where you approved them in the past, we certainly can do that.
No, just what's changing. I want to see kind of what we're replacing. So old, new.
Yeah, so this is
There's
right
a
here.
document.
So the cross-out, the strikeout,
I
that's
meant
the
the
old-
location. Because, yeah, I see that there.
Okay.
Just kind of the location where they were.
okay, so you want the old code provisions. You want
Yeah,
the
yeah.
list of the old code provisions.
If we're looking at new policy, I just like to always compare it to old.
Certainly, yeah, I can
Thank
pull
you.
the when and where you approved them in the past. As I mentioned before, there's several that we've been charging that should be approved by council that haven't. And those, like we said on here, cemetery, senior center, rec, and cable access. So there would be no associated code provision, but none of those, aside from introducing the facility rental fees, have changed.
I have a question for you. Isn't the cemetery its own board of trustees? Don't they set their own fees?
So we went.
Just
we
I'm asking
actually-
just to make sure.
They do
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
NHMA made that quite clear. We asked for
Okay.
legal opinion, which
Yeah.
we got at no charge, of course, that it is the governing body. The statute's rather clear. You folks have to set the fees, and that hasn't occurred in the past in many of these things, and we've been charging fees that are not authorized to be charged. That's the power of the governing body to make those decisions.
They set the budget, you set the fees to compensate for that budget.
So my concern's totally different than yours. So I'm looking at the rental of this room.
Yeah.
And the town commons, and the pavilion. So if if a local
Yeah,
non.
just for everybody at home, what page are you on, just so we can see?
God,
Yeah, just,
Page, it starts on
11.
page 10.
okay,
page 10,
and then
11.
Okay,
down to
just-
11.
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm just thinking like the Blues Festival, right? He rents it for or uses the town, it's I don't even know, 4 or 5 hours to do something that he donates all the money to the veterans. He's going to be charged, $20 per hour he's not a nonprofit, so he's a for-profit. I don't think he's a nonprofit. I don't know. I shouldn't speak.
So Deb, I'll call your attention to the top of section 15.19.
What?
The top of the section. The town manager may recommend revisions to parks and recreation fees within the master fee schedule with the town council's approval. That was put in there to indicate that at the town manager, in this particular section for parks, recreation, and community service fees, those fees may be waived by the town manager with the council's approval. So in certain circumstances, so for example, right now, when different groups are using these rooms, because the library's closed, the ones that normally would be using the library, obviously we wouldn't charge them for that. So in those circumstances, there is a process to waive those fees, and we've included that in there, if that answers your concern.
Well, sort of. So I'm thinking, I'm going to be selfish here and have my own agenda. So someone like myself who, we use the Lions Hall Pavilion to do the plant sale for the Green Team, which is our big fundraiser, which we give the money to other things, educational classes that we pay for the residents in this town to go to for free. We now have to pay $20 an hour to use the pavilion. If I'm doing the farmer's market there, would I have to pay the $20 an hour to run the farmer's market there?
So these are the base costs, and the reality is, when we rent out these facilities and let groups use these facilities, it costs the taxpayer money. So the maintenance costs, the public works costs to set up, clean up, the use of, even down to portable toilets, dumpsters that the taxpayer pays to empty. So the reason these fees exist in this schedule is to charge for, lack of a better term, extraordinary use of facilities, right? Common and the town forests are open to everybody all the time. If somebody wants to go up and sit at the Lions Hall Pavilion and have lunch, absolutely. But when it's being reserved for either exclusive use, which precludes the use of it by other taxpayers and residents in the town, or when it engages in a use that's maintenance will then cause the taxpayer money, that's what these fees are meant to recover. So in the case of the recreation fees, there is that provision in there that would allow the town manager with the council's agreement to waive those fees. But the reality is, and we've seen this come up frequently this year, in that, you know, it costs us electric to run, you know, if people are using the electricity in the on either the Lions Hall Pavilion or the Common, that gets charged to the taxpayer. So rather than pass that on to everybody, those extraordinary above and beyond uses pay a small amount of compensation to account for those increased costs. So that's the justification for these fees. And again, in certain circumstances, they absolutely can be waived. So when you're talking about the Blues Festival, which is a festival put on by a resident, he's not even a for-profit, he's just a person. You know, that's definitely, that's been going on for 10 years.
It's not a birthday party. I'm not talking about a birthday party, but when someone does something there that's for the general benefit of the public.
Sure. But in the case of, you know, again, I can't speak to a specific circumstance, but a farmer's market would be that's a commercial use of the space. The people who sell there would be making money. And so that would be something that most communities would factor that into the business plan. And again, it's not an extraordinary amount of money.
It's not. I just need to know that I need to do that. Since I'm planning for that, I have to prepare, correct?
And
But
that's why we have them in front of you.
I
guys
guess my plant sales would have to go,
Deb, is the Green
Someplace else.
Team a
we're a
town
nonprofit.
organization? Is it a
sorry?
town organization, the Green Team? It
No,
doesn't
we
fall under
couldn't
one of
be.
our committees?
I'm sorry?
It doesn't fall under one of our committees? I thought
Didn't
it
they
had.
partner with the Conservation Commission this year? I thought
No.
they
thought
did.
it was.
Okay.
No,
Don't we have a
Marge
liaison
is
to it?
on it, but
Thought
it
she
has
was.
nothing
No, we
to do
don't.
with
But again,
conservation.
these are the specific exemptions that could be brought before the town manager to get the agreement of the council to waive. So based on what they're doing, what they're using the money for, those are the conversations that could be had, and that's why that's specifically provided for in here.
Yeah, because that allows us to pay for programming at the library, at the YMCA, to educate, and anybody from the public can go for free. It's $100, $200 to get these speakers to come. It's not like we're making millions.
And that's exactly what it's for, and that's why I kind of brought up the difference between that and a commercial enterprise. They're even if it was run by a nonprofit, the people there are engaging in commerce, and that's
Yeah,
a little bit
and-
different.
But that's, like, I was thinking of the Blues Fest. I mean, he does that, and so every profit, every piece of money goes to something to benefit the veterans.
Yeah, and to be candid, part of these is to put some skin in the game for people too. People will often, some of these charges you'll see are really nominal, but when people reserve a field or a space or a room and we tell other people they can't use it, and then they don't show up, that's time and energy that is expended by staff members that could have gone to other services, and it's also taking something out of the use. So for example, you'll see some of them are very small charges, but it actually improves communication, frankly, and it can actually remove the burden from causing extra work for staff by simply charging $5 an hour.
Mr. Chair, we
Yep.
want to move to
Oh,
putting
I
this
think
on the agenda?
I think Dan had a question for us.
No,
so
go
we can-
ahead.
Oh,
Move it to the agenda? Okay, I have a motion from Ted?
Sorry, to clarify, is this a motion to move it to a public hearing on the 20th?
Yes.
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 My apologies.
No, no worries.
Anyone want a second?
Second.
Second from Dan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show us the affirmative. 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.